here is a brand new statement from the president writing on Twitter. Saudi Arabia oil supply was attacked. There is reason to believe that we know the culprit, are locked and loaded depending on verification, but are waiting to hear from the kingdom as to who they believe was the cause of this attack and under what terms we would proceed. He went on to say there's plenty of oil. Amid concerns this attack could affect markets tomorrow. A senior administration official also telling CNN earlier these strikes likely originated in Iran or Iraq. As we get brand new images showing the purported damage that has affected 5% of the global oil supply. CNN's Jeremy Diamond is live at the White House for us. And Jeremy, tonight we're seeing the president really trying to calm nerves.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the most serious statement that we've seen from the president so far on these attacks on Saudi oil facilities that took place yesterday. The president here suggesting that the United States is locked and loaded, which suggests some sort of potential military response once the United States has identified with certainty who was responsible for this attack on Saudi oil facilities. Now, the president is not in this tweet naming a specific culprit, as he calls it in this tweet. But what we do know is that U.S. officials, other than the president, have already begun to do so. The Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, just yesterday directly blamed Iran for this attack on Saudi oil facilities. And today, I spoke with a senior administration official who said that this attack likely originated in Iran or Iraq. And of course, the notion being that even if Iranian forces did not directly undertake this attack, that it would have been undertaken by Iranian proxies in the region, militant groups that often have a very close command and control relationship with Iran, and particularly its Revolutionary Guard Corps. So there are still questions about who exactly is responsible and whether the U.S. Is going to make that determination. The president here indicating that he is waiting on Saudi officials who've been a lot more cautious, I think it's important to note, in terms of laying blame for this attack. He is waiting for Saudi officials to say who they believe is responsible, but nonetheless, the president suggesting here that the U.S. is locked and loaded once it determines who indeed did undertake this attack. Anna?
And Jeremy, what can you tell us about these new satellite images? Do they offer any clues as to what happened and who's to blame?
We do have new satellite images, commercial satellite images that were provided to us by a U.S. official, and it does show some of these 19 targets that were struck by this attack. Now, we do know that the Houthi rebels in Yemen have claimed responsibility, saying that they used 10 drones to attack these facilities, but U.S. officials are casting doubt on that, saying that because most of these facilities were struck at the northwest point of these various facilities, that it's unlikely that it emerged from Yemen, which is in the south of Saudi Arabia. Instead, senior administration official pointing to Iraq or Iran. Now, we have spoken with some of our CNN military analysts who have looked at these images, and they do say that yes, it is more likely than not that it emerged, that these attacks came from the north, meaning Iran or Iraq. But they are saying as well that it is not definitive proof. These satellite images are certainly not definitive in terms of laying the blame at Iran's feet or where the country of origin was for these attacks.
Hi everybody, I am Zira. President Donald Trump on Sunday evening tweeted that the U.S. has reason to believe that we know who is responsible for an attack on a Saudi Arabian oil field, and the country is locked and loaded depending on verification following the crippling strike. Saudi Arabia oil supply was attacked. There is reason to believe that we know the culprit, are locked and loaded depending on verification, but are waiting to hear from the kingdom as to who they believe was the cause of this attack, and under what terms we would proceed. Trump said. Trump's tweet, which appeared to raise the specter of a U.S. military response, served to ratchet up tensions in a region already on edge after Saturday's audacious attack on the Saudi oil field. Trump used similar language in June when he announced he had called off an attack on Iran just as the U.S. was cocked and loaded to strike because he decided it would cause too many deaths for a proportionate response to Tehran's downing of a U.S. drone. On Saturday, coordinated strikes on key Saudi Arabian oil facilities among the world's largest energy production centers disrupted 5% of the daily global oil supply. Yemen's Houthi rebels took responsibility for the attacks, but they are often backed by Iran. A day after Secretary of State Mike Pompeo blamed Iran for the attack on Saudi oil facilities and argued there is no evidence the attacks came from Yemen, a senior administration official briefed CNN on information to back up Pompeo's claims. Trump tweeted later Sunday that it is incorrect to say he is willing to meet with Iran, no condition, a contradiction of his own administration. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin said Thursday that the president has said he would sit down with Iranian President Hassan Rouhani with no conditions. The official pointed to the angle at which Saudi oil facilities were attacked, the numbers of points of impact and other information to argue that it is unlikely the attacks were carried out by Yemen. Instead, the official suggested the attack most likely originated in Iran or Iraq. It is very difficult to see how these things could have come from anywhere but Iran or Iraq, the senior administration official said. The official said 19 Saudi targets were struck in Saturday's attack and argued that such an attack could not be carried out with 10 drones, which the Houthis claimed to have used. You can't hit 19 targets with 10 drones like that, the official said. The official, drawing on commercial satellite imagery shared with CNN, also noted that all the points of impact on Saudi facilities were on the northwest side of them, which is somewhat difficult to do from Yemen. The official could not say whether it's possible drones from Yemen could have angled around to attack northwest facilities. RET. Cedric Layton, who is an intelligence expert with a focus in imagery, said the images do help support the Trump administration's claim that the drones likely came from Iraq or Iran, but cautioned that they're not definitive. This is the handiwork of a sophisticated, most likely state actor. The precise nature of the intelligence used to conduct targeting, the mission planning that went into this to avoid radar detection, as well as the selection of the targets shows a robust capability that would most likely be the work of a government or government-sponsored group, Layton told CNN Sunday. The drones most likely originated in either southern Iraq or Iran, he said. RET. Gen. Mark Hertling said the images really don't show anything, other than pretty good accuracy on the strike of the oil tanks. RET. ADM. John Kirby echoed this point, stating there is nothing I see in these pictures which confirms a launch from any particular location. I'm struck by the precision of the strikes. Almost pinprick, Kirby said. Certainly possible with unmanned aerial vehicles. But again, that doesn't really confirm anything. Rouhani did not specifically reference the attack on the Saudi Arabia's oil facilities in an address on Iran's Press TV Sunday, but did accuse Americans of running a war operation by supporting the UAE and Saudi Arabia, transferring weapons, and providing intelligence. What is happening in this region today has created concern among majority of world countries, he said. Earlier Sunday, White House senior counselor Kellyanne Conway said Trump has many options on the table when it comes to responding to the strike on Saudi Arabia's oil production this weekend. The president will always consider his options, Conway said on Fox News Sunday when asked if Trump would still sit down with Rouhani under current circumstances. We've never committed to that meeting at the United Nations General Assembly. The president's just said he's looking at it.